Good evening to all, and welcome to the third session of EnTalks, the speaker session of ENspire', organized by Ecell at Indian Institute of Information Technology, Lucknow. Hi, I am Karishma Anwari, your host for this evening, and we have Ms. Deepshikha Kumar as our guest speaker today. Ms. Deepshikha Kumar, founder of Speakin, winner of Asia Women Icon Award, a TEDx speaker, and an author.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mohit Afghani, also a student at IIIT Lucknow, and we would like to use this opportunity to thank ma'am for joining us this evening. Ma'am, we have tried our level best to do justice to your introduction, but we may have missed the mark. So we would like you to fill in the blank. Ma'am, you are unmute, ma'am.
I think that's pretty much it, Mohit. I think you and Karishma have done well for the introduction. Thank you so much. And I've been, so yeah, I mean, I'm founder at Speakin'. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you, ma'am, for your kind words. So we would like to start with, we'll start with something basic. So every startup starts with an idea, but the final product of that startup might be highly different from the original idea. So what was Speakin' as an original idea? How did it start its journey?
So for us, the original idea was to democratize access. You know, we always have in India, they say, Raja ka beta Raja, doctor ka beta doctor, businessman ka beta businessman, and so on and so forth. So I think from the very beginning, our premise was that we wanted to democratize that access. That anybody who wants to be a good doctor, good engineer, good leader, good corporate head, good entrepreneur, can do so by learning from others who have already achieved. But the problem or the gap, the biggest gap was that उनके पास access ही नहीं था. So that is the access that we wanted to provide. We wanted to democratize that access to the top thought leaders in multiple genres, and which was the entire premise behind Speakin'. Something that we have stuck with ever since we started till date. But yes, as you said, that formats have changed. Formats have transitioned from an offline to online and then to a blended learning platform. But that's pretty much the premise still stays same as how we started with.
Okay. So you have said before, like that you are not a very disciplined person, but a lot of like the gurus and mantras will say that discipline is very necessary to do a successful business. But do you think that is still true, or just discipline is overrated?
I don't know where you heard that, but by disciplined, I'd said that whenever I'd spoken of that, I meant that I'm not a planner. I don't plan like that. I don't plan each step, and which basically means that a lot of it is a response to as the world happens or as situations change. I think that is where agility comes from. For a business to grow, you definitely need the discipline of motivation for self and for everybody else. You definitely need the discipline of processes and compliance. And then you need the discipline of perpetual integrity and empathy towards your clients as well as your employees. So I think that is something that we've maintained on an ongoing basis. From a planning perspective, I think, yes, I think I don't really plan much beyond 2 quarters. And but that has helped. That has really helped us in growing over 8 to 10x in the past 12 months. And so yeah, I think so far so good.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, I was curious to know, what challenges did you face being an entrepreneur? Could you highlight some?
Oh, multiple. Being an entrepreneur is like being on a perpetual roller coaster, right? I mean, you are actually. It's the highs and lows multiple times, even in a day. I mean, forget about a week or a day. And so I think the challenges, number one, is the entire uncertainty and the precarious nature of the entire role, and that you recover by being resilient आपको बहुत सारा resilience चाहिए होता है to tide the wave through thick and through thin. Second challenge, I think, for any organization is that of the right kind of resources. And which is something which is where you bring in investors, which is where you bring in team members and more. And last, I think I would say is the to be responsive to ever-changing situations, and that I like I was talking to Mohit, that the agility and the short-term thinking, at least short-term planning, really helps us in building that. So I think those are the three challenges that I would say.
Yes, ma'am. Three of many more challenges, I guess.
Yes.
And I had a thing in mind, like although I belong to a business background, I'm more inclined towards pursuing a job. And I guess many young women out there have the same outlook. So what do you think is the reason for this?
I don't know how to answer that question. I think for you, I mean, Karishma, I think it's a personal choice. And but I really don't want to make a blanket statement, but I think traditionally, of course, entrepreneurship has been not been the preferred profession for Indians. Like in my father's time, they would say कि अच्छा उसको नौकरी नहीं मिली होगी तभी उसने business कर लिया.
Yeah, it's a very common statement.
So, and then when it came to his generation, it was pretty similar, right? And then when we came along, I think the world had started opening up. Some of the entrepreneurs had started shaping up and coming out in the open of varying shapes and sizes. And then came the technology business. Then came the e-commerce, the entire internet boom. I think that completely changed the dynamics of being a white-collar entrepreneur, so to say. And then, so I think in our generation, this has changed, and this changed for both the genders. Now, I think the third wave that you will see, which is the wave in your generation, and then for my kids as well, I think that is where that whole change and transition, even to women, will start happening. Because women will have far many more icons to look up to in your generation, in my children's generation, than we had. So I think where I stand, there are very, very few women entrepreneurs, at least in my generation. So and therefore no benchmarks, right? I mean, if you don't see something, you don't push yourself for it. So I think that will change, and therefore more and more women will start. And the ecosystem will start supporting, and then you keep pushing.
Yes, ma'am. That's sure to happen.
Ma'am, so our decisions that we take, I feel they are very highly dependent on our experiences.
Sure, absolutely.
So what would you say is an experience that you had which played a major part in making a major decision? Like something...
See, I think I've been... so I came from... I'm the only child of my parents, and both my parents were government servants. My mother was the only woman in the entire family, was the only woman in the entire family who was working and who had a career. That created, through the years of my upbringing, a very clear message that, one, I have to earn my own living. And two, particularly from my father's side, and since I didn't have any brothers, so there was no really comparison. There was no comparison, right? I mean, that this is what a boy should do and this is what a girl should do. So there was just me, right? I mean, so in that sense, I was devoid of that comparison, and I only knew how to build a career for myself. I didn't know that this should be a man's bastion or this should be a woman's bastion. And then along the way, I got a great set of mentors who pushed me and helped me in learning the end-to-end of business, which shaped up my life to become an entrepreneur that I am today.
That was very exciting. So, I would like to ask something that a lot of us the confusion and whether we should focus upon specialization like jack of all trades or specialization like master of one. So as a young, like we know that we should specialize in the future, but right now we don't know much. So at this point of time, we should always go with that number of one, or we should explore different fields and see like whether we can be jack of all trades.
See, I think, well, it's a very difficult question. I don't think there is a right or a wrong. I can share my experience. I was always a jack of all trades. I never specialized in a particular technical field per se. I graduated as an IT engineer. I hated coding. I hated being an engineer. I love to do it for fun, but not, I didn't want to do it as career. I mean, I can't even imagine myself sitting on one computer and writing a code of 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 lines. That's not me. I want more broad-based, more active, hands-on stuff. You know, that's what I want to do. I want to lead stuff. I want to define, design, ideate, and then execute as well. So, and not by choice, you know, when I graduated, then I got the job that I got was by design. I mean, पहली job मिली वहीं पे हो गया. सोचा भी नहीं. We never did the calculation JD क्या है. I mean, today people come to Speakin and say कि बॉस अच्छा बात करें JD भेज दीजिए. क्या JD? पहला जॉब है तुम्हारा. मेरे को क्या समझ आएगा उसके अंदर क्या लिखा है? आधी चीजें तो तुमको समझ भी नहीं आएंगी JD में लिखा क्या है. And plus, how do you ensure that what is written in the JD is the actual role? A lot of times there's a massive disconnect and massive unread or unwritten, unspoken word, which is actually the core of the job. Unspoken word is the integrity. Unspoken word is the proactiveness, right? That you would be expected to understand the entire organizational dynamic and contribute wherever needed. For example, if you're joining a startup, you may be coming in as a digital marketing or you know, somebody who's creating, making creatives or designs or whatever, or coding for a particular thing. But ultimately, you're also expected to understand कि boss company करती क्या है? मैं बना रहा हूँ ये code, वो पता है आपको? कि कंपनी करती क्या है, इस कंपनी की मार्केट क्या है, इस कंपनी का बायर कौन है, इस कंपनी का यूजर कौन है, इस प्रोडक्ट को इस्तेमाल कौन करेगा, कौन सी कंट्री में करेगा, बना कौन रहा है, कितने का बिकेगा, क्या कंटेंट जाएगा, etc. etc. So unless you understand the entire dynamic, so my recommendation would always be go in for a more generalistic role. Understand, at least in your internship period, understand कि market में होता क्या है, understand companies चलती कैसे हैं, process समझो, एक company का पूरा landscape समझो, ठीक है? And then वो समझने के बाद, then over a period of time, I would say that maybe about a year or a year and a half, that is when you start specializing, because it is too early for you to know what you want. But on the other hand, there is merit in being specialized. There are, of course, you know, great engineers who've come out and created great products. So there's no right answer. I can just tell you what I did.
Great advice, man. You cannot tell someone what they want to do.
Yes, absolutely. And what they're good at. See, there'll always be a difference. There's always a difference, irrespective of who you are. There's always a difference, initially at least, between what you, Murphy's law, right? कि जो आपको चाहिए उसके अलावा सब कुछ मिलता है. Till the time जब आप बाकी ढूंढ के खोद के निकालते नहीं हो. बहुत बार जो आपको चाहिए वो हो सकता है आपके सामने भी हो पर आपको दिखता नहीं, because आप उससे इतना obsessed हो चुके होते हो कि आपको वो पता ही नहीं चलता. There was something that I was reading the other day, and there was a guy who was telling a story. So there was an event happening, and वहाँ पे ना free donuts मिल रहे थे. So there were two people walking towards that free के donuts. They said कि यार donut खाते हैं, भूख लग रहा है. So, but the line was very long. One guy was after donuts. He said कि मैं तो जा रहा हूँ, and I'm going to jump the line and get it. The other guy was kept saying कि यार line बहुत लंबी है, छोड़ना, line बहुत लंबी है, छोड़ना. So the difference between the two was, एक को सिर्फ donuts दिख रहे थे because that is what he wanted, और दूसरे को सिर्फ line दिख रही थी. So the choice is yours. That is all.
Yes, ma'am, that was a very wonderful example we can all relate to. Going on, Ma'am, what advice would you like to give to budding entrepreneurs? Should they get expert in a field or should they hire experts?
I think step one is to build a team. The biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs do initially, early on, definitely, is that they try to do everything by themselves. Understand the different roles. There is a PEMSET concept, which is product, marketing, sales, execution, and delivery. 5 चीजें होती है: प्रोडक्ट, मार्केटिंग, सेल्स, एग्जीक्यूशन एंड डिलीवरी। 5 ये अलग अलग रोल है कंपनी में, और ये 5 अलग अलग स्किल 5 अलग अलग लोगों के पास होने चाहिए आइडियली। प्रोडक्ट और सेल्स वाला बंदा एक नहीं हो सकता, डिलीवरी सेल्स वाला ऑपरेशन वाला बंदा एक हो सकता है, प्रोडक्ट और मार्केटिंग वाला बंदा एक हो सकता है। That's how you can club. But create pockets of expertise. If you will end up doing everything, you will end up with a lot of gray hair prematurely and with a company who's stuck in your throat. वो ना बढ़ेगी ना उससे आप खत्म कर सकोगे. You'll be stuck. So you need team. That's what you need, number one. Then you need parallelly a customer who's going to buy. One customer you get, you do the proof of concept, then you start building, then you start evaluating. अच्छा एक आया, कितने ऐसे एक हैं और मेरी कॉलोनी में, मेरी सिटी में, मेरे स्टेट में, मेरे देश में, मेरे सब कॉन्टिनेंट में और पूरे वर्ल्ड में. Right? That's how you start expanding and defining your market. Those are the things that you are needing.
I have a follow-up question to this answer. Like you said, expand and stuff. Like a lot of the times when the first funding or like the profit comes,
Yeah.
like a lot of startups don't know what to do with that money. Everybody says that reinvest in your startup, reinvest in your business.
Right.
But the point is, where should they invest? Should they increase their reach, increase the size of their team, or fix their supply lines? Or like a lot of places where money can be put, marketing, etc. So what would you think, like the place where they should invest? Like the first amount of money I feel is very important for a beginning startup. So what would you say, like where should they invest?
The first and the foremost money invested should be in customer acquisition. But that you have to define कि आपका कस्टमर किधर से आएगा. आपका कस्टमर डिजिटल से आएगा कि आपका कस्टमर ज्यादा सेल्स के बंदे हायर करने से आएगा because you will be doing a manual selling, या आपका कस्टमर एडवर्टाइजमेंट से आएगा, या आपका कस्टमर अखबार में ऐड देने से आएगा, या कियोस्क लगाने से आएगा. किससे आएगा? सबसे पहले get that customer. Product will be perfected over a period of time. Simultaneously आपको वो एजिलिटी भी लानी है कि थोड़े चेंजेस, कि आपका प्रोडक्ट न्यूसेंस तो नहीं है. ऐसा तो नहीं कि कस्टमर को ले आया, पहले यूज में कहता बेकार है, मैं तो नहीं देखता, आउट. Then you're not getting that customer back. Right? So in that sense, it has to be a minimalistic. Always think when you create a product. So first, put that money in customer. Always think Maruti. When you create a product, Maruti 800, मालूम है?
Yes, ma'am.
Heard of Maruti 800? There used to be a quality matrix called initial quality index for cars globally. हमेशा मारुति 800 का तब और उसके बाद मारुति ऑल्टो का सबसे ऊपर रैंक आता था. आपकी BMW, Mercedes and Audi also सबसे नीचे आती थी. क्यों?
The customer is satisfied.
No. It was a quality. Customer satisfaction was a byproduct of that. But the quality, it was a product feedback. क्यों? कि product ठीक से काम करता है कि नहीं करता? Because it is a no work, no mistake car. उसमें features ही इतने कम हैं कि खराब होने का चांस ही नहीं है. जितने कम features होंगे उतनी कम खराबी होगी. जितने ज्यादा आप टाटा की गाड़ियों को क्यों लोग गालियां निकालते हैं, या किया की जैसे आई गाड़ी, या महिंद्रा ने जब लॉन्च की थी SUVs, जो नए वाले जो SUVs उनके लॉन्च किए थे, वो इतने सारे फीचर्स डाल दिए, 5000 फीचर्स डाल दिए, 5000 में से 4800 तो काम ही नहीं करते. राइट? यू माइट एज वेल गिव 5 फीचर्स बट दे वर्क perfectly well. They work so beautifully. Like Zoom. Zoom just gives you enter into a meeting room. Simple. कुछ ज्ञानबाजी, कुछ ऊपर नीचे का कुछ नहीं है. Google. सर्च बार है एक सिर्फ, टक, दैट्स इट. एक वर्ड डाला, दैट्स इट. उसके बाद बहुत सारे स्वीट बन गए, वो जीमेल एंड जी स्वीट एंड ऑल दैट, ब्ला 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 ब्ला. बट इट वाज गूगल सर्च, राइट? गूगल इज नोन फॉर द सर्च. Simple. एक word डाला, it gives you what you need. That is your product. That should be your first product. Simple. No work, no mistake product. उसके बाद आप frills add करते जाओ, करते जाओ, करते जाओ, करते जाओ.
Yes, ma'am. Moving on, like thanks to COVID, we haven't been to a college yet. So I wonder, how had been your college life?
My God. तब तो कोविड भी नहीं था, but still I was fairly outstanding. I hardly went to the school, the college. I was always standing out. So I did my internships while I was in college because I as I told you, right, I hated coding. I hated engineering. I got in because my mom wanted to get it. So I did that, and but I took all the experiences that I could. I worked in GE at that time. I remember as a part-time employee. I did my internships in multiple places. So I earned my experiences elsewhere. I think that helped in grooming me to where I stand right now.
Yes, ma'am. So, like, do you have any regrets that you didn't live that typical college life?
No. What is typical college life? Who defines that? Who stereotypes? There's no typical college life. Not then, not today.
Yes, ma'am. Like enjoying what we say, enjoying that college life. If we are wishing to go to our college, maybe that's because we haven't been yet.
See, you have so many other things to do now. हमारे पास कहाँ होता था वो सब? So I know you're stuck.
Yeah, agreed.
But one is that enjoy where you are. I'm sure you've not yet seen everything that is on Netflix, Amazon, and more. सब देख लो, हर भाषा में देख लो. Then second is, I strongly recommend, please do an internship. Take up an internship simultaneously. I strongly recommend. Don't go by the money. Free mat lo. My recommendation is free mat lo, because अगर free मिलता है तो then typically organizations also don't spend time on you. They will like free तो है ना, कुछ हमारा तो कुछ नहीं जा रहा चलने को, तो आपका थोड़ा learning उसमें सब compromise हो जाता है. But people pay 500, 1000, 2000, whatever. Just take up an internship. Learn. Don't waste this time. You know enough to do at least some job, even if it's a data entry job. Start. And number 3, keep the hope alive. World will open soon. You will all get out very soon. Just give it some time.
Yes, ma'am. We hope the same.
As we can see that you read a lot of books.
Manji. So, just 2 minutes now, huh? 6:25.
Yes, sir. I think you should just recommend one book for like students out there. Like we have nothing to do. We are sitting at home.
Okay. See, for women, I think there is one book that I recommend. For women, there is this book that I recommend, and I can send you these names. I'll ask Ishita to send these names out to you. This every woman should read. So, Karishma, maybe you can forward it to others in the team.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
this
ma'am.
is very basic. Some very. I read this. I don't know how long ago. I probably put a date on this. Yeah, I think I read it somewhere in 2010. And 2010 was when I read it. And it's been 11 years. It's a Bible. For guys, I think this is one book that you can read, or for everybody, this is one book that you can read. This helps you in focusing. The question that you were asking, right? You can be master of all, or whatever, jack of all trades, but at one point of time, do one thing. So this is an interesting book. Then there's another book called Never Eat Alone on networking that you could use. By Keith Ferrazzi. I'll send you all the 3 names to you. These are all good books, easy books to read.
Yes, ma'am. And we at Inspire would like to extend our gratitude
Thank you
for you to joining us today.
Thank you very much.
We hope you enjoyed your time with us.
I did. All the very best. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care.
So this was all. And I hope you join the fourth session of EnTalks right after this at 7 p.m. EnTalks by Mr. Kaustav Mazumdar. Till then, do participate in all our events, especially this quiz, because the registrations are closing at 7:30 p.m. and it will start at 8 sharp. Crypto Crunch, our mock crypto trading event in partnership with WazirX, is live on cryptoparrot.com. Hit the like button if you like this session and do subscribe for further updates. Stay tuned. Bye.